Who are they suing? After Earth for intellectual property theft? Like at
or
least
that Bigfry guy.
At least
Is Earth 2 a scam? Oh my goodness!
I've seen them create rifts in people's personal lives, right?
Yeah.
Where somebody sees a YouTube video that calls Earth 2 a scam, and then all of a sudden you're arguing around the dinner table about why you sold off all your stock and maxed out all your credit cards on Earth 2, and this YouTuber with absolutely no evidence is calling it a scam, and that's more credible than you.
So no regrets at all with any purchase you've ever made?
No regrets, because we have no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
Nobody else is monitoring around.
Use the discount code on screen.
Comments, because it may or may not be an investment. You could totally lose everything from it. And if you use my referral code, I'll put that in the description box below.
So use this code for 5% off if you jump in. You
guys don't have to use my referral code. If you're going to invest in this anyway, you might as well use my code.
Definitely use the promo code right here. You guys will get 5% off your purchase.
The one valid point they have is, what is Earth 2 going to be about? Because right now, all it is buying and selling tiles.
Economic simulator. That's kind of what it is right now. But right now, no, there's definitely not a game. Now, it is possible, though. And it's pretty ambitious to be, as they say, Ready Player One. But I personally believe in a couple years, it can be.
They say they're going to have a video completely explaining it coming out, what, this coming week?
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm expecting nothing from that video, and I'm hoping it's hilarious.
My first video on Earth 2, which was a stream highlight showcasing my first reaction to Earth 2, a project described as a futuristic concept for a second Earth, a metaverse between virtual and physical reality in which real-world geolocations on a section map correspond to user-generated virtual environments. These environments can be owned, bought, sold, and in the near future, deeply customized. At first glance, this looks to be the most ambitious project of all time, being made by a company full of juggernauts in the game dev space. My video on this project brought out the Earth 2 defenders in droves, crying out at the lack of research and intentional hating and misleading of a platform that doesn't really have that much information at the ready. My video was meant to be a holy shit, people are spending their money on this reaction. They wanted a deep dive video, they got one. Leave a like on the video, subscribe for more on gaming, multiplayer FPS, and early access scams. Before we do that, I want to thank today's sponsor, Earthland. Earthland is the massive metaverse sandbox where billions of people can adventure, create, and explore. Imagine a game similar to Ready Player One or The Matrix, all combined with Minecraft, Age of Empires, and even Fortnite. They're trying to create a game with ultimate freedom. What can you do in the game? Well, everything and anything, with anyone at any time, in their infinite metaverse, in virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. You can explore millions of unique biomes. You see a tri-grid over there that needs buying? Buy that tri-grid. You have a tri-grid that needs selling? You go sell that grid. Using the TriMap Cloud database, you are able to look anywhere on the globe and invest in your future using their system. You can invite others to earn too and make money off of their investments at the same time. After joining, you can create your own referral code, and if you want to get 10% off your first tri-grid, use the referral code you see on screen right now. The vision is that Earthland is the home stretch of gaming. It encompasses every game genre ever, in every game mode, in every style, all in one. It's the only game that you will ever play before you die. They've developed amazing technology that will allow each player to only take up a byte on their servers by compressing all player data into an enum, allowing billions of players to play and exist simultaneously. It just works. They've been backed by the biggest investors in the world, including but not limited to Silendio, Blaine Sysak, and big companies such as StopChain, TriMap, and Sovereign Card. Now, companies and people like that wouldn't ruin their reputation on a company like this, right? So you can trust that they're going to build something special for you and me. before listening to anyone that's clearly misinformed and is trying to slander the company, even though they're thinking outside the box and creating the most successful project ever. You can thank them for the 20% jump in revenue, and while you're at it, let them know that they must do their research. This is Earth and their dream, and from the bottom of their hearts, they want to thank people like me for supporting Earthland. If you guys want to check it out, head on over to earthland.io and purchase some tiles today. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to Earth 2. So taking that quote at face value, the first thing that we do see on the website, these environments can be owned, bought, sold, and in the near future, deeply customized. The project is split into currently 2 phases, with a third one on the horizon at some point, which we're going to talk about later. They're currently in phase 1, with phase 2 coming soon. Let's talk about phase 1. What is phase 1? According to the website, phase 1 is their claiming land phase, in which you buy, trade, analyze land prices, and more. You can buy tiles on the world map for as low as 10 cents per block. Each block is a 10 by 10 meter section on this platform called Mapbox, which we're also going to talk about in a little bit. This phase is simple. You can buy, sell, and trade these blocks for real currency, with a marketplace of bids and auctions happening in real time. Their website breaks down this buying and selling of land by telling you that the more popular places on Earth are going to attract more virtual interactions, which means their prices are going to be more expensive. In my first video, I scrolled into a random city block in Detroit, Michigan, where each tile in this random suburb was around $50 US, making the entire block around $10,000. A crazy amount of money for digital tiles on a map, right? Well, if you look somewhere else where virtual interaction won't be as high, these prices drop significantly. Once you buy a tile, you can fly your flag that represents your country. If I wanted to buy somewhere in Afghanistan and fly a Canadian flag, I can. And I did. I'm the proud owner of a random piece of Afghan desert, and the process of buying tiles in the game is actually really simple. The tile itself was only 65 cents, and I added $10 to my account from a credit card. The website gave me a property deed. It also labeled it as a land class number 2. We're going to get into classes later on in the video. And it left my account with around $9.35 to, well, buy more tiles. Now, the withdrawal process is a little bit more complicated. In my initial reaction video, the person I was watching was explaining that you had to send them an email with your full legal name, address, account name, email address, bank name, bank account name, account number, SWIFT code, and the amount you wish to receive. And you can still do that today if you want to withdraw straight to a bank account. That's the only way to do it. However, they are now offering a withdraw to card, although it does say trial period on the website. I'm not sure how long this is going to be available. In order to do that, you need to manage your 2-factor authentication. I had to go to Google Authenticator and add an authentication code to my profile. No problems. But then it asks for photo ID proof as well as proof of address. They are now asking me to upload photo ID as well as a utility bill or other document containing your full name and address. I do know from watching previous videos and older information videos that they did have a PayPal option to fill your wallet, and that no longer exists.
I know there's a lot of the people are saying that this project might be little fishy or scam or something, but that's up to you to believe. To be honest, we are only here to make sure that we are here to stay and to make sure that, you know, we make the Earth 2 the best game out there. Also try to make sure that no one is screwed over in some way or another. And this is why we are sticking with PayPal, where PayPal gives us some credibility in that part.
So less than 24 hours after I purchased this tile, I had posted on Twitter that I was going to be purchasing a tile so that I could test the features of the marketplace, the buying, the selling, the trading, and all of that. And some players went and purchased every plot of land around me, and somebody actually made me an offer on my plot of land for $10 or 10 Earth credits, which is basically a 1-to-1 with US dollars. My guess is this is somebody trying to say, hey, look, Bigfry, you can make money on this platform. Look, you've 10x your investment. I decided to push it one step further, and I countered him with $100 just to see how far this person was willing to go. We eventually kind of went back and forth and settled on a cool 50 Earth credits, which are now sitting in my account, and because there's no PayPal option anymore, I'm forced to submit more private info to a company that I don't trust as far as I can throw them. So unfortunately, that money just has to sit there until they offer PayPal withdrawals again. I'm not sure what's going on. I do find it funny that a dev stream from February was using the fact that they have PayPal as an option as a reason as to why they're not a scam and why they're trying to protect the consumer. But as soon as I go to buy something on there, I don't have an option to deposit or withdraw using PayPal. Now, the website says, imagine buying the Sydney Opera House and flying the American flag representing ownership of that land in Earth 2. This is only the beginning, as country ownership of land will become even more important as digital access to Earth 2's gameplay becomes available over the coming months. Finally, a mention of gameplay in this video. Phase 1 right now is not a game. Phase 1 is a convoluted pre-order system that promises gameplay in the future, and if you get in now and claim your land, you can be a pioneer in this metaverse. But what is the metaverse? What is the game? What will the gameplay be like? That was my main question when I first reacted to this project. Well, let's find out. A page on the Earth 2 website titled Why Buy Land Now? It details the benefits of owning land. Right now, what is available is the ability to buy and sell these land titles, a referral system with periodic bonuses which are in-game credits you can receive based on playing the game and owning land. There's only a limited number of Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3 tiles available in each country. You guys know that I bought a tile that was a Class 2 tile. What all those mean, we're going to get into in a little bit. There's so much to unpack here. There's also a referral system which gives you a 5% bonus when someone uses your referral code, as well as a 5% credit back when you purchase land using a referral code. The sections that will come later are the resources gathered, which is the resource nodes that are coming with Phase 2. In the future, you can also look forward to advertisement income, which is when advertisements are delivered on land that you own, you will be given a portion of the revenue generated from those advertisements, depending on the class tile that you own. You also have digital assets, which is when the user decides to build on land that you own, you receive a portion of the value of those digital assets. So if a user decides to build a house or a shopping mall, you get a cut of the profit. In terms of actual gameplay, I've been told anywhere from RPG FPS mechanics to a game like Age of Empires, Minecraft, and Fortnite all wrapped into one. But just going off of the website and what they say this game is going to be, the Earth 2 landing page, front page of the website, claims that their vision for this game is going to be the beginning of Earth's fully immersive virtual reality, similar to The Matrix or Ready Player One, which leaves it so open to delusion and false hope and wishes. When they say similar to something that we have never ever seen before, even though on their Facebook ads, they are saying that they are making Ready Player One a reality. So the website says they're making something similar. Advertisements are saying that they're making that exact thing. So there's already a little bit of a misconception, and I think that's actually what's contributing to the fact that not a lot of people actually know what this game is going to be. Phase 2 features a resource node system on your tiles that you can actually see if you do decide to purchase tiles. These virtual land tiles will begin generating resources like gold, fresh water, iron, oil in this civilization-like system. These resources, like the tiles themselves, will be tradable between players. So if you want oil, you better find someone who has it. Phase 3 brings in the terrain system. We got a first look at this in the first video I made, but you guys can see it on screen here. Visually, I think it looks incredible, but at the end of it all, it's terrain. Being able to move around it in VR space would be cool for maybe 5-10 minutes, but I myself at this stage of recording am still trying to figure out what the gameplay is going to be like. The vision on their landing page of the website says that it wants to be the beginnings of this fully immersive reality similar to The Matrix and Ready Player One, but have shown nothing in terms of tangible gameplay or even proof of concepts. This is where my biggest complaints and concerns come from. When someone's talking about game-changing, fully immersive worlds where you can go anywhere and do anything, it's very easy to call that out and say, yes, this is bullshit. We did that with Dream World. Gamers do that every single day with games like Star Citizen. Star Citizen is known as one of the biggest scams in the gaming industry. Is Star Citizen a scam? If you were to ask anybody who knows anything about the game, for the most part, if they're not an avid player or a fan of them, they would tell you that it is a scam. But does Chris Roberts believe that he is making the scam of the universe? No, he does not. He truly believes that he can create something with his development teams that is going to revolutionize gaming as we know it. Most people know that it isn't going to come close to the idea and the vision that Chris Roberts has, and I'm feeling the same way about this game. Now, one of the main defenses for whether or not this game is a scam, everyone likes to point out that a lot of people have been able to pull out funds, and some have actually made money off of their initial investments. It's a pretty weak argument because you could literally point to any MLM or Ponzi scheme and say, well, yeah, of course, some people are going to make money, others aren't. A lot of people have been calling this a Ponzi scheme. Now, by definition, a Ponzi scheme, fraudulent investing scam, which generates returns for the early investors with money taken from newer or later investors. And by going off of everything we see on the website, they're no longer calling it income tax on the website. You can go back at the Wayback Machine and you can see that they've made changes to what they're actually calling this. They're now just referencing it as LIT. Land bonuses are in-game credits you can receive based on you playing the game and owning land, and how many new players are joining a country in which you own land. Just by playing and owning land in Earth 2, you can receive these in-game credits as a reward for being an early adopter and helping Earth 2's community to grow. Be proud of your Earth 2's country and help it grow. So as new investors come in and buy tiles in Earth 2, if they happen to buy in the country that you own land in, you make more money. So the new people coming in are making money for the older investors. And the fact that it also says there's only a limited number of Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3 tiles available in each country, with better rewards for players holding a higher class of land. The earliest investors are the ones who make money in this investment opportunity. This is a feature that is currently in the build that you're seeing on the website. I just watched a video from Earth 2 Meta back in January. Now, you guys might say this is outdated information, but he does talk about how he has received land income taxes from his property portfolio.
I've just seen that my land income taxes have arrived. I'm pretty excited. We're going to get to see how much tax I've got from my 122 tiles. I think I could be rich. Let's have a look and see how rich I am. This may be the last video that I do if I've hit it really, really big. So showing you my portfolio. Let's run through here and we get some transaction history. So I've been paid out on 7 of my properties. They're all in Turkmenistan. And these were the first ones that I bought. So it seems like there's a little bit of catch up being played. It's going to take a little while for the money to come through. But if we look through, I bought, as you can see initially, in multi-tile plots. These are my 40s and my 20s and my police station and the racetrack and things that I bought. So for a 22 tile plot, I got 1 cent.
And to go back and talk about the classes of tiles and what that actually means, there's not a lot of information out there that's easily accessible. I did find an article written by this guy named Remco Levain, where he basically explains how the land classes work. I myself bought a tile in the middle of Afghanistan and it labeled it as a Class 2 tile. How that's determined, however, is how quickly people buy the tiles in whatever country you're buying in. So if you were the first person to buy a tile in Canada, you're going to be having a Class 1 tile given to you. Class 1 tiles generate the most periodic credit for that country. So Class 1 generates the most, Class 2 a little less, Class 3 a little less, Class 4 may also generate some periodic credit. Now, how many Class 1 tiles are there in a country? Well, the developers don't want to disclose that information. On Discord, it's been said that the first 100,000 tiles in a country are sold as Class 1, then the next 100,000 Class 2, and so on and so forth. It's all about appeasing the earliest investors in Earth 2. You buy a tile really early on, and then to drive your value up even more with land income tax and the class system that the developers have put into place, it's all about getting people to buy more land around you, which drives up your income tax. And if you were one of the first investors in this game, you're getting Class 1 tiles, which earn you more periodic credits. And after watching one of the most prominent Earth 2 YouTubers on this platform, he did drop a video explaining how much he thinks has been raised by these tile purchases.
To my maths, there's been just under 46 million tiles sold to date, and that's given us a total spend of over $36 million on new tiles. And honestly, I think $36 million on what isn't even a game yet, which is just on a two-dimensional tile, is phenomenal.
$36 million in tiles that have been purchased for a game that hasn't been shown yet. But when you see them advertising that they are recreating Ready Player One in Facebook ads, trying to lure people in to buy the tiles with that fear of missing out mentality being thrown all over this website. When I ask what the project is and I'm greeted with 1,000 people yelling at me to do my own research, I find it hilarious that their own terms and conditions basically tells me that they do not warrant the accuracy, adequacy, or completeness of the information on this website, nor do they undertake to keep this website updated. Do your own research. The website might not be accurate and we don't give a fuck. The largest defense for Earth 2 and the scam calling is the team itself and the guys behind the project that are creating it. These guys have plenty of experience in game dev as well as like future tech and VR tech. So it's possible that they could do something like this with them at the helm. Well, let's have a look at who is making this project and why people have so much faith in this group. So the CEO, Shane Isaac, the founder of Earth 2, his description on the website says, with over 20 years experience in development, product development, and management, Shane has an avid passion for big concepts and thinking outside the box. He has a burning desire to develop Earth 2 into an alternate digital reality, a reality people can literally feel around their physical presence anywhere in the world. When you go to his LinkedIn, however, it only shows him work at one other company as the managing director. The company is XYZ Social Media, and it's a social media and communications app that offers numerous world-first features in addition to being a new alternative for social media to millions around the world. So I would say that's a pretty grand claim. That's pretty big ambition. And when you go to download the app on Android anyway, it has about 500 plus downloads, 4.4 stars with only 23 reviews. Kind of a fart in the wind compared to what I'm already seeing with Earth 2, but it doesn't really prove anything that the website claims about Shane Isaac. Over 20 years experience in development, but his own LinkedIn presence only goes back about 4 years, 6 months. And his only other claim to fame is a social media app that is, well, kind of dead. The last tweet they put out about the app was in May of 2020, and they've been radio silent ever since. Trying to find any more information about Shane Isaac on the internet is pretty tough to do. Outside of his LinkedIn, he doesn't really have a social media presence. He does post on Twitter from time to time, but most of it is just Earth 2 related talk. I can't actually find out what he's done. in the other 16 years that the website claims he's been developing products. But let's move on to the development team. We're going to start with Wolfgang Wach, who is part of the gameplay, concept, and design of Earth 2. The website says he has nearly 3 decades-long background in game and narrative design, working on dozens of small and big games, an experience he will now bring to the table in order to create the experience of our second Earth. Wolfgang Wach was part of Blue Byte Software as a project manager for 5 years, 9 months, back from 1995 to 2001. Now, Blue Byte Software is now known as Ubisoft Blue Byte, but back then they were the pioneers of the Settlers series, which has released countless games in this franchise from 1993 to 2010. He moved on from Blue Byte Software in 2001 to become a project manager at Massive Development. And after coming in 2001, the only games that Massive was able to put out was a game called Aquanox 2 Revelation, which released in 2003 and was a sequel to, obviously, Aquanox, which was a post-apocalyptic arcade-style action game. He's also credited on IMDb to being the writer for a multitude of games from Battle Isle, the Andoja War, In Between, 1111, and obviously a couple of the games in the Settlers franchise. And not to discredit any of his work, he has been around for a long time in the industry, but none of these projects equate to anything even close to what Earth 2 is claiming to be. But I digress. Let's move on and just try to see where the credentials are coming from that people seem to think that this team can build a metaverse similar to The Matrix. Ralph C. Adam is their lead production. He's a well-known and respected name in the international games industry since more than 25 years, especially in the field of production. And after he could no longer resist the imploring and begging of his old companion Wolfgang Wach, we are proud to announce that he will now help us to set up the game development department of Earth 2. And when you click on his LinkedIn, his biggest claim to fame comes from the fact that he worked at GameForge for about 2 years, 5 months. He was in charge of 60 internal employees and 75 employees in all external studios. In terms of everybody on this dev team, Ralph is actually the one with the most credentials in like video games and large scale teams, which if Earth 2 wants to pull off even a portion of what they claim they're going to pull off, they're going to need a large team to do it. But still impressive that he was able to run that many people. And this is where things get a little bit more juicy. We have the lead game developer on Earth 2, Nathaniel Doldersom. He's one of the most successful publishers on the Unity Asset Store, according to Earth 2. He's an extremely talented game developer, which is evident in his co-founding role with Drone. So if you guys don't know what Drone is, it is a game that launched into early access in August of 2020, developed and published by 5 Studios Interactive, in which Nathaniel is the lead developer for 5 Studios Interactive. These guys opened up shop in March 2015, and he's been there for 6 years, 3 months, obviously still present. The game launched in August of 2020 to very positive reviews, and the last update for the game, Early Access Update 0.3, came out October 14th, 2020, and that was the last update that game has received. And just over a week later, Earth 2 gets its first Inception video on YouTube. We've really heard nothing from this dev team, 5 Studios Interactive, ever since. So the lead developer for the gameplay of Earth 2 is most well known for an early access drone action-packed combat game that was abandoned 2 months after it came out. This is the guy we are banking on to make this metaverse. But not without the help of Theron Galvin, the lead technical artist on Earth 2. When you click his LinkedIn profile, he also works at 5 Studios Interactive as the co-founder and lead 3D artist. This guy worked on Drone as well, but he joined as the lead technical artist on Earth 2 in January 2021. So anybody who bought Drone, the game on Steam, it's not looking too hot for you guys. 2 of the main team members that developed Drone are now working full-time on Earth 2. Got it. We move on to Stosh Slavkovsky, which I think I pronounced that wrong. He is a talented programmer and technical lead who lives for clean code and organization. He excels at DevOps, has invaluable experience at CTO level, and is an integral part of the Earth 2 team. And looking at his profile on LinkedIn, he actually does have a pretty reputable past in terms of working in DevOps, working as a team leader, working as a software engineer at a bunch of different companies. Not really known for putting out any like mind-blowing projects, but he does have some development background. It looks like his skills are in Node.js, PHP, JavaScript, iOS, and Android. I can't really talk to his past. He's worked at a bunch of different companies that doesn't really show what like major projects that they've put out, but he does have some talent. We also have Steve Bennett, who is labeled as the Mapbox guru. Steve is a Mapbox guru who is extremely talented with vector tile generation with complex data sets. His knowledge and talent was invaluable when building our global grid system. Looking at his profile, he has worked as a data migration engineer. He has cloud migration consultant under his belt. He's been a software engineer, data specialist. He actually has a background in this industry, but just like Stosh, we don't really know what major projects he has put out. We also have Samuel Dale, the FE developer. He works on the UI and UX. He's one of those rare developers who's talented at coding and UI UX. He also has a portfolio here. I'm going to have all of these links down below. And now we get into the advisory panel, where a lot of defenders are coming out and saying, why would these people put their names attached to a project on an advisory panel if the game was a scam? So we're going to look into these guys here. So first up, we have Dylan So. Dylan was a co-founder of Oculus VR, a company ultimately acquired by Facebook for $2 billion. Dylan has held key executive roles in well-established technology and investment companies and has a deep-seated love for virtual reality. Now, the weird thing about claiming that this guy was the co-founder of Oculus is that he's not listed as a co-founder of Oculus anywhere. Oculus was founded by 4 people in July of 2012. Palmer Luckey, Brendan Ireb, Michael Antonov, and Nate Mitchell. They founded in California and then hired Dylan as the Korean business manager of Oculus in August 2012. So he handled the Korean side of things in terms of opening an office and handling everything on the international front. Before he had joined Oculus, he worked at Autodesk as a product specialist sales executive, and before that he was a global business manager and a business director of Korea. So does he have business experience? Absolutely. But I'm seeing so many people paint this guy as a pioneer in the VR space, when in reality, he himself even admits in an interview that they brought the tech to him and showed him the prototype of the Oculus before it went to Kickstarter.
Brendan actually came to Korea to see me and then told me about his new venture called Oculus. And he's going to do a Kickstarter campaign following month. It was actually in July that he came to Korea. And he showed me the very early prototype of VR device.
He is part of the early days, but he has nothing to do with the development of the VR headset. And he is now doing exactly what he was doing back then, and he is working as a business advisor for Earth 2. Now, what that's going to lead to, we have no idea. His own LinkedIn profile doesn't even list him as a founder, but when you look up Palmer Luckey, he's a founder of Oculus. And that's not to discredit this guy at all, man. He probably has just a plethora of business experience that could actually help this project, but we gotta stop painting these people as the pioneers and the be-all end-alls when they had no real knowledge of what VR was until they were approached by the people who are actual pioneers in the VR space. Next, we have David Novakovic, who is also an advisor. According to the site, David is one of the most well-known and accomplished tech founders in Australia. He is a data scientist at heart, but it's his ability to lead, innovate, and communicate the results in most anything he touches turning to gold. They're calling him a genius in his own right and can learn anything to achieve anything, and conversing with him on any subject will open up a new world you never knew existed. So this guy is like Jesus Christ incarnate, apparently. Let's go over to his LinkedIn. He is a staff engineer at Linktree. From what I can tell from his LinkedIn profile, his largest contribution was the founder and lead engineer of Swarmer, which was the next generation in music intelligence, leveraging both a user's music influences and behavior to deliver a more relevant and humanized discovery recommendation. So when you go to the Swarmer page on Crunchbase, simply put, we've built Pandora for SoundCloud, which is sure to polarize opinions regarding music discovery into the future. And when you go and click on the website swarmer.com, it takes you, well, it takes you here. I don't know what this is, but it doesn't look like music. His most recent endeavor as a staff engineer at Linktree is actually pretty credible. I've seen Linktree be used by a bunch of different social media influencers. It's basically a way to congregate all the links in one area. So if I link you to my Linktree, it'll have my YouTube, my Twitter, my Twitch, everything here just laid out so you guys can follow me on whatever platforms you want to or ones that you use. And lastly, we have Sebastian Fair, who they say is another classic example of a highly talented programmer that has a business mind and runs processes that will blow your mind. He can make an hour conversation feel like 10 minutes due to his high intellect and ability to break down complicated problems into manageable solutions. So when you go to his LinkedIn profile, it looks like he was a programmer at a company called The Binary Mill for about 2 years, where they worked on a bunch of racing games for iPad and iPhone, as well as a gun club. Armory looks like a first-person shooter for mobile as well. His most recent project is working as a director at Air Pty Limited, where when you go to the website, you're greeted with a landing page that says new site coming soon. And when you read the about, it says, at Air, we know that innovators are the ones whose strength of imagination overcomes the reality that tells them they're crazy. For us, success is when our reality looks like those imaginations. So during the last few days, I've had a lot of people point to me and be like, look at the team behind this project, man. They've been working on this tech for so long, and they're very credible people. Now, I'm not going to try to diminish the knowledge and the talent that this team has, but when you look at the technology that is powering this platform, which is Mapbox, which apparently I pissed off quite a few people by calling it Google Maps. Mapbox is an American provider of custom online maps for websites and applications such as Foursquare, Lonely Planet, Financial Times, and the Weather Channel, as well as Snapchat. So Mapbox is a very credible piece of technology that is being used to power this tile map system that we are seeing as we go to phase 1 of Earth 2. But these guys didn't develop it. What these guys are developing is what they are calling Earth 2 Engine, or E2 Engine, and that's the ability to generate the terrain that we're going to see all across the world in a one-to-one scale. We're seeing tech like this rising in games like Microsoft Flight Simulator. We can already do that one-to-one scale world, but what we haven't seen in this industry yet is the ability to move across that terrain, interact with, I'm going to say, thousands of players in the same area, as well as building on these tiles and being able to, according to their own website, go anywhere and do anything. The most expansive VR game that I think I could think of in terms of size and scope is a game like Orbis VR, which is a full fleshed out MMORPG with very simplistic polygon style graphics, but the world itself is huge. But even that isn't even close to what Earth 2 is claiming they are going to make When you start looking into the metaverse and companies in the gaming scene that are trying to get in on this, you see that back on April 13th, Epic Games announced a $1 billion funding round. That's billion dollars to support Epic's long-term vision for the metaverse. Now, this round includes an additional $200 million strategic investment from Sony, which builds on the already close relationship between the two companies and reinforces their shared mission to advance the state-of-the-art in tech, entertainment, and socially connected online services. What is the metaverse? And why is it worth $1 billion? When you see this article that was written by IGN, details that Tim Sweeney, founder of Epic Games, is basically trying to fight for interconnectivity between all platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, Apple, all these tech conglomerates coming together in a shared social universe in which you could access a game like World of Warcraft and then jump back to the world and access a game like Fortnite and have all of these experiences brought together inside one single shared universe. But even Tim Sweeney says that the metaverse will be a linear evolution rather than a massive, sudden disruption. He's anticipating that we'll slowly see barriers break down over time and more spaces become better interconnected. The difference between what Epic Games is creating and what Earth 2 is creating is you yourself have to fund Earth 2's future. If they don't have people buying these tiles at the current moment, there's no funding, there's no money, and then it fails. And now they're competing against juggernauts like Epic Games, Sony dropping a cool $200 million like nothing. When you talk about calculated risk when it comes to something like Earth 2, it's pretty difficult to see the team that they have in place being able to create something like this. I'd be hard-pressed to say that Epic Games could create something like this in my lifetime, and Earth 2 doesn't have the kind of resources that Epic Games has. What Earth 2 has is a small, passionate team and a system in place that allows them to fund the development of this metaverse with money from people buying and selling tiles. You guys are buying into a promise that, in my opinion, will never ever come to fruition with the resources and the team that they have. If you buy a tile today, what's actually going to be driving the price of those tiles up if you happen to buy in a populated area that you think a lot of people are going to want in the future? The only way people are going to want to buy in the future is if these features start coming to fruition. And right now, I just don't see it. When you look at the tech behind it, there is some pretty cool tech with Mapbox and the terrain generation that they're showing off. But in terms of a game itself, the lead game developer having abandoned an early access title that didn't really make waves, and he left it 2 months after it launched, it doesn't really give me a good feeling. When I see Tim Sweeney mentioning the fact that it can't just be one company building out this platform, but it needs to be basically a collaboration among all tech companies, Earth 2 hasn't shown me anything in terms of them working towards that global goal and bringing in different companies to sign on board, like Apple, like Xbox, like PlayStation, like Steam, like Valve, like Epic, like anybody. What we see here is yet another closed-off platform that is being funded by you, the player, on a game that doesn't exist yet. I've been covering early access games since this channel's inception in 2015. And one of the first things I always say when it comes to seeing something that hasn't released yet but looks really, really cool is to never pre-order. Earth 2, at its current phase of development, Phase 1, claiming land, is one of the biggest pre-order red flags that I have ever seen in my entire life. And at the end of the day, if somebody buys into it and feels comfortable with it, it's your money. Do with it what you will. There's people who pre-order games every single day, and if you believe that Earth 2 can make it, based on all of the information that you can look into, all of the LinkedIn profiles, all of the companies that these guys have worked, founded, and created in the past, then good on you. But everything that I have looked at, from the founder to the lead developer to his buddy who also worked on Drone to abandoning early access titles, I'm not quite seeing the correlation between this dev team and its potential success in the future. Do I think this dev team can get it done? I don't. If you disagree with me, that's fine. But when I have doubts that Epic Games, one of the largest companies in gaming, I have doubts that they could pull something like this off within the next 20 years. There is absolutely no way, and I can say that in my heart of hearts, that Earth 2 is going to be able to do the same in our lifetimes. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, I can confidently say, in my opinion, Earth 2 is one of the biggest scams that you could put your money into today. There's that idea about gullible people, I have a bridge to sell you. I was going to make a joke at the end of this video about buying the Golden Gate Bridge and then wanting to sell you the tiles. Hey, guy, I have a virtual bridge to sell you. I think the bigger joke here is that the Golden Gate Bridge has already been purchased by other people. My name is Bigfry, and I'll see you on the next one.